There was a thing I was reading an article on about OnlyFans, and a girl named Riley Reid. Riley Reid bought a $4.5 million house cash. And Riley Reid is a well-known female performer. And she did the $4,400,999, $4.5 million. There you go.
Yo, do you understand the amount of bread that she had to break? Because when you buy a house, you put anywhere between 5 and 20% down, right?
No.
The point is that if you
okay.
spent all that bread, that means that there's still a mountain of cash behind her. You don't spend all the money in your bank account on one piece of property, because then how you gonna eat? Bro, she is probably winning somewhere.
You know for sure she spent cash?
That's what the article said.
Yeah.
Cap.
Even when someone says they paid cash for the house, doesn't mean they paid it off. And in fact, it's bad to like pay off the cow.
Yeah,
the whole house.
It depends. It depends. If
Well, I
you
mean,
have a
like,
high interest
so here's the
rate,
thing,
she
right?
could always borrow back on it.
If you've got millions and millions and millions of dollars and you have no aspiration to have tens of millions of dollars, like if you're just happy where you are, like your credit score shouldn't mean anything at that point.
Also, you
know what
could
I mean?
buy cash and get a lower, all cash offer on a house. You could do that.
All cash offers work too, though, because your house closes in 10 days. But I was looking at,
Damn,
so there are
Riley
these
doing it like that?
Well, the
OnlyFans pays
all of that.
The
From
speculation is that her OnlyFans is at around $500,000 a month.
what?
Yeah.
Yo, okay, hold on a second.
So for anybody that was like, all you did was suck dick for a living,
Okay, so here's the question, though.
just saying.
How much of like who you are do you have to compromise? Like let's say that.
You mean to do what that?
Yeah, to do
Okay,
that. Like,
so
you know what I'm saying?
The
Like,
general formula for OnlyFans is relatively easy, right? Your numbers on OnlyFans are reflected by your numbers on social media.
right.
Okay, you have a reach of 5 million people, right, on Instagram, for instance, right?
Right.
And then you start an OnlyFans. You're now marketing to 5 million people.
I'm gonna look up Riley Reid.
If 10% of
She's
them,
one of the top OnlyFans.
he's gonna look her up on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
But if she, let's say that she gets about 10% of that 5 million to sign up,
Right.
and then at $6 to $10 a person,
She's winning.
and that's not including any extras like any special videos, which the customs are where the money's at.
So let me ask you a question then. Is OnlyFans ruining the porn industry?
Yes.
Because like if you think about it, like
It ruined
the
porn
Like
industry.
why would I work with some studio? Like why would I care?
I don't agree with that. I don't think it did ruin porn. I think it depends on where you're standing. You know what I mean? And I think Riley Reid's are an anomaly. If let's just assume the article is true, right? That everything about that article is 100% true, then high five to Riley for destroying the game, right? That means she has an amazing crew that is backing her and doing everything, because I couldn't imagine what it would take to push those numbers, like as far as pumping out enough content,
It's a
right?
lot of work.
And then I also heard that she is helping, other accounts as well, which makes sense, right? You don't just live off of your stuff; you live with some other people's stuff. But so, I mean, if her numbers are that high, man, knock yourself out. And the reason why I say I don't think that OnlyFans is destroying porn. Number one, you won't ever destroy porn. You will not get rid of porn. Ever. Sex sells. It has since the beginning of time. The only thing older as a business than sex is religion.
Okay.
I know.
No, that's fine. Because
I know you agree with me.
Yeah.
So you haven't seen a dip since OnlyFans came in?
100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, but OnlyFans allows these people, affords them an opportunity to have an additional outlet. So now the consumer can talk directly to the talent, right? So they can get in touch with them directly of sorts and say, I want you to make this video for this amount of time. How much is that going to cost?
Yeah, but if the actor, if someone like you
Yeah.
makes more money off of that,
what
why
would
are
be
you
the
in,
point
yeah.
of going to someone's
What's the motivation
studio
to going
shoot?
back
Exactly.
and doing?
It's almost like if you're a musician and you can go direct to consumer instead of going through the record label and then sharing the profit, because that's what record labels do is profit share.
But so here's where the medium gets weird, right? Is a company potentially like OnlyFans, okay? What I think will happen, Josh and I spoke about this already, is that I think at some point in time, I don't know when, they will phase out adult performers.
Yeah.
They will put heavy restrictions on what can and can't be shown and what can and can't be done. And some of that will be governed by your card processors, which is Visa, MasterCard, Amex, right?
Right.
Because ultimately they are the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
They make the rules.
Once the company becomes like this $1 billion,
It's already a $1 billion
but once it gets big enough and they say, well, we don't need this anymore, then
And
they can
that's
totally
the hook,
eliminate it and
because,
they'll be fine.
Because like
Right.
we were talking about Lexi Pantera, right? While she certainly doesn't do any porn on her OnlyFans, she twerks and has, I'm sure, other videos that are sexy videos. But I guarantee that that is going away because her music is coming in, and now everybody that she's garnered from that, right, her original music is now going to stay on,
Right.
because she's a
I
performer.
mean, it's the same like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come philosophy, right?
Well,
like and
not
in
really,
porn, if you
because-
build it, they will come.
Hey, I see what you did there. But it's not just that, because I look at Lexi as somebody who is able to transition, right? Even
Right.
though she's not doing adult content under the normal
but
guise.
that's kind of one of the knocks against porn performers is that you become kind of a one-trick pony, and in a lot of times, what ends up happening is even if you are, talented in other arenas, it's very, very difficult for the buying public to kind of invest themselves in that other talent, especially if they've already consumed. Like, isn't your boy Small Hands a rock star? Does he make songs and sing and stuff?
Well,
Right.
so here, just to finish that up, right, is someone like Lexi now is going to be at the forefront. She released a single at one point in time, right, on there.
A few.
A few, and let's just, I don't know her numbers. I am not involved with none of that stuff. She made good money off of her single, right? And I would wager she probably made as much, if not more, off of her single than she did off any twerk video she may have posted. And so the reason why I bring it up is, as soon as OnlyFans looks at that and says, okay, so we don't have to do this sexual content.
Right.
We can get it out of here. And if we get Alexi, who is an up-and-comer, and now we get a mainstream star like, I don't know, somebody who's well-established, right?
Right.
Who shows up to the platform with 10 million followers.
But this is very much the same thing that we talked about before. Like Lexi's OnlyFans and her being able to monetize that and actually make some bread. There's no difference between that and what Too Short was doing coming out the trunk with his tapes.
Agreed.
There's no difference between that and what Master P was doing selling his own CDs.
Right.
It's like it's just direct to consumer, and it actually makes more sense because the artist actually has more power over whatever it is.
And that's why I was saying to Josh that I don't think that I think you could make a very strong argument that OnlyFans empowered porn. It screwed the studios.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. It empowered the performer, but screw the studios. That makes sense.
I guess Destroy wasn't the.
Yeah. Well, I don't say that because Riley would not have made however much millions that she made if it wasn't for OnlyFans. So now she was already successful. Let's just say she was making $1 million a year, which I don't know. Maybe she was. I have no idea. But if she was able to triple or quadruple that number because of OnlyFans, and now guess what? She cut out Evil Angel. She cut out Brazzers. She cut out Gamma. She cut out all of these other major studios, and was like, nothing personal, but I don't have to give it to you.
Right.
I can sell the product for 20.
Right.
So
and
is she
keep
completely
19.
out of that side of the business?
I don't know what her content
It wouldn't
is.
even make any sense for her to go back to that side of the business.
I don't think.
Like I'm automatically a boss now. Like, why do I want to be a worker?
What was your thought process, Josh?
I mean, I think I would maintain that side of things.
I think she maintains it. Like, I don't think she's written porn off. I think she just has however many dudes that she'll do
She
scenes
pivoted.
with. Yeah, so she took her content and her product and said, I'm going to work with these people, with these directors, and they're going to shoot my content for me, and I'm just not releasing it on freaking DVD.
So the question is, if a company like OnlyFans is making, generating billions of dollars with the adult content, and, individuals that are of age are the ones that, like, this is not, it's not access. It's not all access like other porn sites, because OnlyFans is not only a porn site, right? There are other porn sites that, they don't care if you're 18 years old or not. You can watch you can consume the content however, right? But OnlyFans has checks and balances in place to kind of keep the adult section being the adult section. So the question is, I'm just spitballing here. I don't have any OnlyFans like subscriptions, so I don't really know how it works. All I know about OnlyFans is what I hear from you.
Yeah.
So the question is, if this is a legitimate part of their business, why would they get rid of it?
Well, I think it's because of anything. A lot of people use that as a launch or a jumping off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I know your favorite actor in the whole wide world, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
I love The Rock. The Rock is awesome.
Liar. You're a Rock hater.
The Rock is dope.
He has approximately, if I'm not mistaken, 25 million
Yeah,
followers.
he's
Something,
up there.
something like that. Let's just call it 25, right?
Right.
And did you look up Riley?
Yeah.
And how many followers does she
On
have?
Instagram, she has 1 million.
Okay. So it would take 25 Riley Reids. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
To equal what access Dwayne Johnson has. Can you imagine what would happen to OnlyFans if he started posting all the stuff that's on YouTube on an OnlyFans? If him and Kevin Hart both got on OnlyFans and did all the content that I love watching on YouTube with the two of them together, all the updates and BTS from the movies that they're shooting, all of the travel junkets, press junkets that they're doing, and it all was on OnlyFans.
I can't front. There's a bunch of comedians that are actually using, like, just a couple
Exactly.
YouTube comedians. Like, there's one very, very specific that I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
But he has, he sends, especially since no one was going to clubs.
Right.
Right? Like, OnlyFans boomed because of the pandemic, but it doesn't seem like, it seems like it'll change, but it doesn't appear, like, because people love the convenience. People
Right.
love to be able to access what they want when they want it.
OnlyFans was on an upswing already. The pandemic just
Yeah,
turbocharged
because
it.
it took away other options that
But
you
that's
would
what
have.
I'm saying. As soon as they get, Alexi Pantera that is on OnlyFans and
Right.
that blows up like
Yeah.
she's starting to do, and she continues to create the content. So now she goes from whatever 5,000 subscribers to 500,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
She now create something, and they're like, we don't need to run a risk with all these adult content.
Okay,
we can
so
just have that.
that's exactly what I'm gonna say, because I was looking at Riley Reid. She has 1 million followers,
Yeah,
which
which
is
isn't that much.
nothing to snooze at. I mean,
It's not that much in relation to
in relation,
what,
in relation to others, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, we know people, like individuals that
Yeah.
are not in the adult industry that have more than 1 million followers.
Josh?
Josh got a smirk on his face.
The Rock has 247 million.
Maybe I was thinking of Twitter.
That's
maybe.
great. That's a big
Okay.
jump.
That's a huge
Sorry.
jump.
Excuse
So
me,
yeah,
you're-
like
you're-
if she could make what you said, 1.4 million a month, how much money do you think The Rock
Well,
would
and
make?
that's what I'm saying is like when
Josh,
you're able to monetize that one person.
How many followers does Kevin Hart have on Instagram? Because like we're
Probably half
we're
that.
talking about Instagram, but we should be looking at Twitter, because Twitter was kind of
113 million.
Jesus, right? So if Kevin Hart wanted to produce his stand up by himself,
Oh yeah,
and then
He does.
I know. Wait a second, but then release it on OnlyFans.
fire on them bitches.
Right? To release it on OnlyFans. Totally cut out HBO.
Sure.
Totally cut out Netflix. Cut them all out.
Yeah.
Right? He wouldn't even have to charge that much.
No, he
and
could charge $5.
Yeah, he would
person.
make a mountain of bread. A mountain.
Well, OnlyFans actually started out for music.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they couldn't get the traction, so they did what most platforms do.
Very interesting
Adult
thing
content.
is because it's very difficult for me to think that OnlyFans wouldn't scrub the pornography because of the social stigma
Well-
that comes along with it. And I always find it weird when companies just kind of grow a conscience all of a sudden. Like,
Well, the irony
like,
is,
come on, man.
the
You
last
making
time
all
I
this bread
checked,
off of-
listen, the irony is the last time I checked, OnlyFans is owned by MFC,
I have no idea. I've
which
never
is
seen
My
it.
Free Cams,
Oh.
which is a very large
Yeah.
company who has mad paper.
Yeah.
And basically runs the cam market
Yep.
for adult media.
When we went to the AVNs,
Yeah.
it was like almost 2 years
Yeah,
ago now.
everybody else had one booth. They had like four.
They had everything. I was like, who are these people? Because they weren't stars. They were just.
No.
And that would actually make sense, because it's only a slight pivot from the business model from a
Right.
cam to OnlyFans. It's only a slight
But
pivot.
now you can attract a different type of person.
Mhm.
You can attract a different type of ads
Right.
and a different pay platform.
Man, it always feels like that family that sold a bunch of alcohol during Prohibition, and then they made millions of dollars with being gangsters, and then they send that generational kid to Harvard,
Right.
and then people
They learn
forget
how to run the business.
Yeah, and then they legitimize the business, and now people forget that they made all their bread through something that was socially unacceptable.
Now, who knows? Maybe OnlyFans won't do that.
Maybe they won't.
Maybe they won't.
Maybe
But
they
I
won't.
could certainly see the argument that if a Kevin Hart and a Dwayne. Let's take it down a couple notches. It kind of sucks that I said down because I'm thinking of Beyonce.
Well, I mean, we were talking about.
I'm thinking Beyonce and Jay-Z. They do not have the following that Kevin Hart and.
Really?
I don't think
Beyonce?
so.
No, Beyonce.
What does Beyonce have?
I think Beyonce's got a bigger following than Kevin Hart does.
I might be on par.
Yeah,
with
the
his.
Beehive is no joke. No,
I'm not saying they're a joke.
187 million.
Oh,
what was Kevin Hart?
She's in
125?
between. No, 113.
113. Okay, yeah. See, that
So
makes
she's
about
in
sense.
between.
That makes about right.
Okay, well let's go down to I don't know. somebody
Megan Thee
else.
Stallion doesn't have the same as Beyonce. She doesn't. It's impossible.
No, she probably has what,
Right.
like 10 million, 20 million.
So someone
Anyway, the Megan Thee
still
Stallion.
top tier performer.
The point is this:
Right.
is that imagine that Dwayne and Kevin
Mhm.
say, "Listen, we'll totally use your platform,
Mm-hmm.
but we can't be associated." I mean, I did all these movies for Disney, for Christ's sake.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so we can't be associated.
Right.
So
Right.
if you are willing to restrict them
Mhm.
or create a barrier or hell, get rid of them,
Yeah.
and then I will sign a contract
Yeah.
that says blah blah blah. You know, you don't think they would consider
Of
it?
course, because it
In a
like we
second.
said, it would take Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne the Rock Johnson has 200 million followers.
200 plus, yeah.
200 plus million followers. It would take that's almost like, I wonder how many of these porn, if we add up all these porn performers, they probably wouldn't equal like maybe half of what The Rock's reach is.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And that's
agree.
all of them.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Because 200 million people is a gang of people. That's like an entire country of motherfuckers.
But
That's like more people than in the Dominican Republic.
but the argument is this, or the reality is this, is wherever you send the porn, people will go to watch it and to find it.
Yeah, so like if you were right and it's owned by the company that owns My Free Camps, it's just another
Yes.
pivot,
Right.
and this becomes the bigger cash cow, and that becomes a smaller cash cow. The way a lot of the soda companies work, right? We have Coca-Cola and then we have Pepsi, right? Those are the two
Right.
largest ones: Coca-Cola Inc., Pepsi Inc. But there are subsidiaries. They
Sure.
have other colas that they make.
Dasani and all
Right,
these other
right. But I'm even saying that it looks like it's competition. Like
Right.
they have a Coca-Cola, which is the main one, and the Coca-Cola company makes another cola that's not called Coca-Cola, and it might
Right.
be slightly different in flavor, but it's like a veiled competition because it's monopoly at this point, right?
Right.
Like so, yeah, man. The money's still going there. It just appears to be like. So here's the thing: do you, as a performer, get frustrated by the idea that what you do is like so socially inappropriate that it has to be hidden?
It's not hidden anymore.
Yeah, but
Riley Reid just made $500,000 a month.
see, I don't believe that money. I don't think that money equates to like social acceptance, because
how else would you quantify it?
I think that you could profit the world and still lose your soul in the same process.
Oh, okay. Well, we're talking about morality.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like as a performer, does it get kind of tiresome when individuals will look at you or view what it is that you as a person, right? They have these judgments that they levy upon
Right.
you because of the media that was created.
Sure.
Because like in my head, the only reason why OnlyFans would do that is to not compromise. Like
Well,
they will kick you off your OnlyFans
yeah.
platform like that if they have to choose between Derrick Pierce and Dwayne Johnson.
Oh,
Derrick Pierce has got
no,
to go.
No question.
Yeah.
I'm a pebble.
In comparison, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that the ridicule and things like that adult performers have to go through is, for me, minimal. The conversation between someone like me being seen in public and somebody like Riley Reid, let's just assume for a moment, take finances out the way, because if that's the money she's making, she's stepping all over me.
Yeah.
But let's just say that we're contemporaries, right? I've worked with Riley before. She's a wonderful person, great performer. The social stigma between the two is, you as a fan would be like, Derrick Pierce, seen all your stuff, freaking dope, love your stuff.
Right.
And that's the conversation.
Right.
And now it's Riley Reid. Oh my God, I want to talk to her. I think she's so amazing.
Well-
She's so cool. And then when she kind of is like, not really. And then it's like, fuck you. You're just a fucking porn chick and you suck dick for a living. Don't think that you're all that. And so the stigma between the male versus the female gender in that capacity is epically disproportionate.
Well, no, that's because a woman is devalued by her number of sexual partners. A man is valued like, yo, you're a stud. You know what I'm saying? You out there plowing mad chicks, and then if a woman's body count is high, people be looking at her like, yo, you're a whore. Matter of fact, there are different vocabulary. There's different vernacular to describe the same exact activity. Yeah. Like a woman has multiple sex partners, she's a whore. A dude has multiple sex partners, he's a stud. Like,
high five, yeah, I'm a stud.
Like, you're a fucking whore. Okay, you're a whore too. But you know what's crazy? Because you brought this up before. I know you love to bring this up, and I'm not gonna stay on this, right? But no, think about it like this, right? If OnlyFans scrubs, if we're talking prospectively, if they scrub the pornography off of their website, right, off of their platform, because not technically a website, off of their platform, and then garners the attentions of those like A-listers, right? We know that they became popular off of pornography. How is that different from the Kim Kardashian sex tape?
Well, it's not.
Okay, cool. Because I didn't know who she was until Ray J was bringing her back, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I had no idea who that chick was until you know what I'm saying.
It's not. And that's always been my argument.
Scholar.
I think very deeply.
Sinner.